approaching. And you're listening to Healthy Minds, Better Lives. It's me, Hayley and Tammy. We've just been listening to the fantastic Sophie Buckley from PAVS talking about social prescribing. In fact, we've had a message come in on the app. It was a pleasure to hear Sophie highlighting different approaches that are available now in terms of social prescribing. Paul has had a long association with PAVS and admire the dedication and commitment of the team. And if the name Paul Gisborne Hilton sounds familiar, it's the same Paul that was on the breakfast show this morning from the Over 50s forum, playing host to a very special guest this afternoon. I hope it went really well, Paul. Looking forward to hearing how that went. And again, another example, that forum, of talking ways on how the older people, the over 50s, can stay connected with their community here in Pembrokeshire. And we were just talking there after Sophie left us about social prescribing. It sounds great, but does the term in itself cause a bit of confusion, Hayley? This is what we were talking about. And is it being embraced fully, or is there still that sense of, oh, I'm not sure because it's an intervention? Actually, I don't need that. Like, what's some of your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's a is it for me kind of thing, isn't it? You know, if you've never been involved in it, or you're just coming out of feeling isolated and you need somewhere to go, is that the space for me? If it is social prescribing, do I need to go, as Sophie said, you don't in Pembrokeshire, but in some places you do need to go through your GP. So it means trying to get an appointment. Maybe there's nothing particularly wrong with you GP-wise, but I know in Pembrokeshire there are self-referrals. But if you, I suppose, go back to what I said earlier, it's that awareness raising, isn't it? It's knowing what the referral pathways are, how can I access it, and who is it for, who will it benefit? And it's quite a broad range of people, isn't it?
I think that for me is the biggest benefit, is that it's not a case of I've got these kind of symptoms, therefore I'm going to fall into this funnel, or this funnel. What I love about the concept of social prescribing is that it is inherently holistic. It's looking at everything depending on your age and whatever symptoms you might have, and your own well-being factors that make you feel and spring alive. If you've got the resources around you, of which PAVS, Sophie there, very keen, and I'm going to reiterate the thanks to the people that put these groups on, there really is something for everyone. And if we know what it is that we want, then we can actually be on that upward spiral. I'm going to say that phrase once more time. And it's actually really exciting. And that question that you just posed there, Hayley, is it for me? That first hurdle, Tammy, that hurdle, though, could feel massive if you're someone that's had difficulty with that initial integration with other groups.
Yeah, absolutely. If you've been socially isolated, to actually make that first step is going to seem like you say, a huge obstacle. And sometimes, just even breaking it down to the simplisticness of just the jargon. An individual may be just a bit overwhelmed just by the words social prescribing. So to have Sophie on just to explain it so well, and to give examples and to talk about the good work of the community connectors, I really hope it is just breaking down those barriers and just saying, like you say, it is for everyone. It does work. It is successful. There are projects out there. And it's just about, just like you say, embracing it.
Yeah. What I love is that they've identified that, and they can actually try and arrange for someone to go with you to that first session and actually make those introductions through that connector network. Why is it that we're rubbish at asking? Well, I say I'm very much generalizing and referring to myself. Why are we so rubbish at asking for help in the first place? And then once we know that we need help, why are we so reticent to actually take our own advice and that conclusion that we've come to and actually going to that session in the first place? I'm going to keep with you, Tammy.
I just think it's just sometimes it's not actually ingrained in us. Just that kind of asking for help. Looking for help, acknowledging. That's the first thing, isn't it? Is just to actually recognize that perhaps you do need that little bit of help. But again, we also know, just thinking of the worst case scenario, when we get to that worst case scenario, it's not as bad as what we ever thought it was. And I say that to like my clients, just thinking about something, that playing that over and over again in your head, that, you know, just rehearsing it. And when you actually do it, actually it's not as bad as what you actually thought it was going to be.
Yeah. There's the thing with going to a new group is that you walk into the room and you think everybody's known each other forever.
Yes.
And everyone is an expert, and yet half the group might have only turned up to their first session the week before.
Yes,
And
yes.
depending on where they're at in their journey, so say a pottery class, for example, it's the session where it all goes into the furnace, into the kiln, and then it comes out and you've got this wonderful ceramic vase. And if that's your first session, you think, well, I can't do that. And what you've missed out actually is the 6 or 7 weeks preceding that, where they couldn't even turn the wheel and keep the clay on the tray. And it's similar with the choir. Depending on when you join in a choir rehearsal schedule, you might walk in the week before a performance. So you're walking in as you're honing in on like fine tuning 6 or 7 songs, and you walk in, you'll think, well, I can't do that. And then, but then if they were only to come for one more week, the second week, right, we're learning a new song from scratch. And then you realize that everybody is in the same boat, and it's not a song that you've sung for a year, 2 years, whatever it might be. And it's something that everyone's listened to for the first time. You think, these are my kind of people. We all sound the same here.
It's belief systems, and we've spoken about that before, isn't it? It's just, and again, what Hayley, you know, spoke about just before Christmas, it's managing expectations as well.
Yeah.
So come full circle.
Hayley, that those belief systems and coming to these different groups and getting over those hurdles. But as we've heard, there's a wide margin of things that we can do to help ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really think that's always going to be the first step, isn't it? It's that empowering yourself. You have to notice that there's a problem. Then you have to decide what the next step is. If it is asking for help. I was so glad you didn't ask me about asking for help, because I can guide you through asking for help. I won't do it though.
But do as I say.
I can give you all the advice in the world. But I do think, you know, if you are feeling isolated, you have noticed that there's a problem, you are ready for some kind of support, you don't know what it is, even if you don't know what it is, I reckon the community connectors is a good place to start, because they may say, no, we haven't got anything for you, or they may say, we have loads of things for you, come and try it all. You know, it could be anything in between that. It could be the one perfect thing for you.
And of course, no, you carry on. Go.
I was just going to say, you've got to take that first step to ask, haven't you?
Yeah. And be prepared to go to a lot of sessions where you know from the outset, this isn't for me. And that's okay. It's okay to go through all these different, treat that as kind of part of the experiment, if you will, of, well, I think I've got an interest in scratch art. I'm going to go to an art group and see how many foil paintings I can make. Nah, that's not for me. But you've given something a go, and at least you can scratch that off your art. You can scratch that off and be like, well, actually, let's try something else. And actually, through trying lots of different things, you find the thing that does light your soul on fire. And it might be that actually, I really like doing this particular activity, but not necessarily in this environment. I want to be with more people that have more interests like sport and scratch art. So actually, I'm going to see if there's another group that does something similar. So there are lots of different variables to get the maximum output. But the main thing is that you're out there, you are trying something, you're developing, you're reducing your isolation, and you're communicating, you're becoming social, and you're building skills up for when you do find yourself in a new room. And Tammy, that's a great outcome.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to actually just to be able to socialize, just to be able to be with like-minded people, or to find people that are just new friends. Again, I'll always come back to, we do enjoy that social interaction. So anything that connects the wider community, joins the dots, crosses the T's. And as Hayley and Sophie have said, if there isn't something already happening, there are people there that can make it happen or start the process. So it's such an exciting time.
It is. And Hayley, we were talking in the run-up to putting this show on about those different types of activities, and you've like, I think it's just on top of your head, you've come up what, 6 or 7 different ideas there.
Yeah, wild water swimming is an amazing thing. You've got the blue tits all over the place, the groups, the swimming groups. There's loads now. The guy who was doing the research in Swansea University, he is working with veterans, so looking at the impact of them. So it could even be as specific as that. You know, if you are a vet, then you go and find a group of veterans doing something. I know a group of veterans who go motorcycling or motorbiking everywhere. There are so many options now of groups available that I would say it's probably harder not to find one that's going to suit you. That's my challenge now.
Yeah, right. I'm going to make a point of not finding something. You remind me actually with the blue tit chill swimmers. Of course, that started off right here in Pembrokeshire. It's now got like tens of thousands of members worldwide. And on Wonderful Wednesday, we posted a picture up, and Denise, big shout out to Denise. She's an open water swimmer, and someone commented on her picture saying, I've found Purist Radio by accident. Of course, listening to the radio can give you that sense of identity and that sense of connection. We are here in the heart of Haverfordwest, broadcasting about West Wales stories for you. So hopefully you feel a sense of connection through the guests and the people that we have come on and the topics we talk about. And so she found the radio in the first instance, and then she found the blue tit chill swimmers. And she was like, I now go in the sea like once a week. And I've made wonderful new friends that have all got similar experiences to me. Oh, by the way, I'm 75.
Yay.
Like, how great is that? You're never too old to try something new, is what I believe.
Yeah, and knowing it's out there, I think you may have to build up some bravery, right? I'm not a one for going to things on my own first time. I will do it. It's not my favorite thing to do. But those people were in your position at some point too. So just remember that if you are ready to reach out and find something that's for you. And you might think something like, you know, sea swimming in the freezing cold, dead of winter, you might think it's mad, but you might thoroughly enjoy it too. Even like in Buryport, there's a big group that meet. And I've seen them then over the last fortnight about 5 or 6 times. And there is a range of ages. There's children with them. There's dogs with them. Some people don't go in the sea. They just sit in their nice big coats and they bring their chairs with them. They have sandwiches. They do the whole hog. They have hot chocolate and tea and coffee. But sometimes you don't have to do the thing that you meet up for. Mm-hmm. Just meet up with those people. You get on with those people. Meet up with them.
Yeah. Yeah, just meet up. Just do it. Just meet up. And, well, we'll be meeting up again next month on the 10th of April, if I'm not mistaken. And, well, we've got a few different themes that we could potentially be talking about. We've got heart health thrown in there, a bit of physical well-being. World Homeopathy Week, Awareness Week is between the 10th and the 16th. That falls perfectly within our show there. And, of course, we've talked about homeopathy. When was that? It was a couple months ago now, wasn't it? Was it Hayley? Was that your contact that came on and had a chat with us?
Yes, I love homeopathy. Yeah, it's amazing. So yeah, you can see what's going on for awareness raising. But as you know, I do not like my awareness raising days or weeks.
Oh, boo!
I know, I'm a bit of a Scrooge when it comes to that. But I think we missed obviously International Women's Day this week as well. We haven't mentioned how that was on Saturday, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. I'm a bit of a rebel, I suppose. I don't particularly fall into them, but they are good for doing what they do what they say in the tin, don't they? They do raise awareness of things, as the social prescribing thing will do as well on the 19th.
Yeah.
But do you know what a question that's come up this week? Maybe we can discuss this next month.
Yeah.
What other activities for teenagers? I had this conversation yesterday. Mm-hmm. We're talking a lot about children, adults and older people. And I've struggled with this with my own children. What are the activities in between that when you are growing up, trying to find yourself? a really interesting conversation yesterday. So maybe we can touch on that next month.
Well, I tell you what, if I might try and pull up the contact book and try and get some of those members of Young Farmers Group and the Edge and the Point Youth Centre up in Fishguard. There are services there, but as you quite rightly say, they can be quite well hidden. And I think that's important to fly that flag for us. And of course, we're open to all suggestions here on the show. So please do email us what you would like us to cover and who you'd like to get the expert in. It's studio@purewestradio.com. We do have that conversation for Glaucoma Week on the way with Andy Britton. They mentioned a bake sale. You've missed it. It's been and gone. Just so you're aware. So any references to picking up cake, don't do it, because I've eaten it. I had a raspberry and white chocolate brownie. And which brings me also nicely, actually. Tammy's just made a little note about a shout out for all things chocolate.
Yes, well, it's April. So we have to talk about, well, not necessarily Easter, but, chocolate.
I'm sure that we could talk about chocolate. I hear it's got good qualities for releasing feel-good hormones. So,
yes, so there's a good tie there to oxytocins and the feel-good. Yeah, that's make a note.
We'll make a note. Thank you both so much for your time and your insights as ever here on Healthy Minds, Better Lives. Thank you to you for listening and contributing with the comments and dropping your emails in. That email again, if you want to join us or have a topic for next month, it's studio@purewestradio.com. Hayley, Tammy, until we blink our eyes and we're back again together, have a great couple of weeks, and look forward to hearing what you've been up to in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, you too. Thanks. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
To bring us up to that conversation with Andy Britton, Sunny Federa, Jazzy DOD, Some Days plays for you next. And I'll be back tomorrow morning with Gina Jones on your breakfast show with Folly Farm. It's Feel Good Friday, and we're going to be joined by some of the cast and crew of Beauty and the Beast, Milford Haven, Amateur Operatic Society, another group that may benefit you in finding those interests that make you come alive. A little bit of self-expression and performance. I know what wonders it changed my life for. That's tomorrow morning from 6 a.m. here on Pure West Radio. See you both.
Bye.